Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
The time is 7 o'clock. Here is the news on the network service of Radio Nigeria. Good morning. I am Joy Marka, reading with
Yahya Umar. Good morning. Our top stories. Ease of lockdown in some states and FCT. Ease of lockdown in some states and FCT begins today. Stakeholders want government to include veterinarians in fight against COVID-19. Banks to seek approval before laying off staff. Osun State Joint Task Force arrests 27 illegal miners.
This news is streaming live on radionigeria.gov.ng. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Radio Nigeria HQ and on Facebook at facebook.com/Radio Nigeria Network. And now the news in detail.
You're listening to the news on the network service of Radio Nigeria. In our headlines, the gradual ease of lockdowns in Lagos, Ogun, and the FCT begins today. Stakeholders have called on government to include veterinarians in the fight against COVID-19. Still to come, banks to seek approval before laying off staff. Osun State Joint Task Force arrests 27 illegal miners. And the spotlight, which is on food security in the pre- and post-COVID-19 pandemic. Stay with us.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
The spotlights now, it's on food security in the pre- and post-COVID-19 pandemic. It is written by Dr. Rose Gidado, Country Coordinator of FAB, Nigeria Chapter.
Last December, the National Committee on Naming, Registration and Release of Crop Varieties in the country met in Ibadan and approved the PBR cowpea for release to farmers after naming it Sampi 20T. By this development, Nigeria became the first country in sub-Saharan Africa, apart from South Africa, to develop and release a GM, that is, a genetically modified food crop. The newly registered Sampi 20T is highly resistant to Maruca vetrata, an insect pest that causes up to 90% yield loss in severe infestation cases. Sampi 20T is early maturing 70 to 75 days with semi-erect growth habits, insensitive to day length, and has medium-large white seeds. It is also resistant to Striga and Electra, two notorious parasitic weeds. The decision to release the variety means that farmers will have access to the seed that will help them significantly reduce the number of chemical sprays they currently apply to their crop from 6 to 7 times to only 2 times per cropping season, and as a result, realize better yield in quantity and quality. It will also contribute to addressing the national cowpea demand deficit of about 500,000 tons and further improve the national productivity average of 350 kg per hectare. This achievement is by all means worthy of celebration, considering the number of dreams that have been shattered by poor harvest occasioned by Maruca invasion of farms, as well as the lives that have been lost due to heavy use of insecticide. Globally, science and technology are what countries have used to reduce poverty, malnutrition, hunger, and diseases. Nigeria is not different. The federal government recognizes this, hence the establishment of necessary research institutions and regulatory agencies. One of such is the National Biotechnology Development Agency, NABDA, with Professor Alex Akpa as the current Director General. The agency, put in place over 2 decades ago, prepares the ground for the deployment of modern biotechnology in Nigeria. This is a testimony of government's deliberate efforts to use science and technology to boost food production in the country. Nigeria must therefore encourage scientists to continue to work for the good of the country and the people. For instance, in his research, Professor Mohammed Ishaku, Principal Investigator and Executive Director, Institute for Agricultural Research, IAR Zaria, postulated that West African cowpea is the most important food legume, as millions of people feed on it. This is because it is highly nutritious with a substantial protein component. Protein is very expensive generally in Africa, especially in the rural areas. Cowpea, therefore, offers a cheap and critical nutritional solution to millions of people, and it can grow in the harshest of places. However, it serves an opportunity to control the Maruca pest devastating its production other than through use of harmful pesticides. According to Professor Ishaku, the tremendous benefits that the improved variety will give farmers in the country were the reasons for the motivation in the research work. Today, Nigeria has over 16 research institutes all over the country with a mandate to improve various crops. These institutes must be encouraged to carry out their mandates to ensure that the country attains self-sufficiency in quality food production, especially with the challenge posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. It is clear that primitive agricultural practices face various challenges, and from the foregoing, science and technology holds the keys to overcoming these challenges all over the world. The fact is that biotechnology cowpea, known as beans, is early maturing and less laborious to cultivate. In fact, experts say that the biotechnology cowpea can actually be cultivated conveniently in little farms around the home and harvested in 2 months. Undoubtedly, the COVID-19 pandemic has opened another opportunity in Nigeria's quest to attain self-sufficiency in food production, driven by the country's scientists. Surely, the biotech cowpea is an example of a crop that can guarantee food security.
Tokpe Ojeme presented that spotlight on food security in the pre- and post-COVID-19 pandemic, written by Dr. Rose Gidado.
To wrap up the news, here is a recap of our major stories. Ease of lockdown in some states and FCT begins today. Stakeholders want government to integrate the services of veterinarians in the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. The Central Bank of Nigeria and Bankers Committee have agreed that no bank in the country shall retrench or lay off any staff of any cadre to help minimize the negative impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on families and livelihoods. Osun State Joint Task Force has apprehended 27 illegal miners in the state. The arrested miners, who include 17 Chinese nationals and 10 locals, were arrested following a coordinated sting operation around Elisha and Ife axes of the state.
And that's the news, as edited by Solomon Yopave and the production team. I have worked with
Yahya Omar. Thank you for your time.
I am Joy Maka. You have a role to play. Stay safe.